What's up, gamers? DreamcastGuy here, talking today about the PlayStation 5 Pro because this is a system that's had a ton of leaks about it, possible technical specifications, how good the graphics are going to be, how expensive the system is going to be, and most importantly, when we're going to play it. But today, specifically, I want to talk about the leaks and the people that are claiming this system is going to totally fail. There has been a surprising amount of anti-Sony sentiment. People that are thinking the PlayStation 5 Pro is going to be a colossal flop. And I must admit, I'm fascinated by their complaints, by their criticisms. And I do think they raise some fair points. But let's discuss. Hi, hope you're having a great day. If you could like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. Yeah, I'm sure you noticed I accidentally shaved my beard off, so now I just have this adult movie 80s stash, but it'll grow back. So, now I think a lot of this PlayStation 5 Pro talk today was stirred up by Tom Henderson. This guy is the premier PlayStation leaker. He's the guy who first talked about the PlayStation Portal, the PlayStation 5 Pro, and the PlayStation Slim. So far, all of his guesses, if you could even call them that, have been 100% accurate, but he's actually responding to the fact that a lot of people are thinking that possibly we could see the PlayStation 5 Pro as early as Monday. Sony has announced they're doing a short showcase at the Consumer Electronic Expo, CES, and so usually when they're there, it's to talk about the more Sony side of business. New TVs, headphones, phones, laptops, stuff like that. But, occasionally they have done PlayStation announcements. They actually talked about the specifications of the PlayStation 5 and even revealed the PS5 logo at CES. So, the idea of them possibly being there and talking about the PlayStation 5 Pro isn't impossible, but he basically says it's probably coming out in like October or November, so them discussing it now would be a bit strange. Now, the specifications of the PlayStation 5 Pro, we keep getting more and more leaked details about it. I do think the PlayStation 5 Pro is actually going to be very, very impressive. There's discussions about DLSS to make the visuals more clean, AI upscaling, neural processing units. I mean, a lot of stuff that's going to make it so the system, even if it's not tremendously double or triple the power of the current PlayStation 5, it will be able to look way, way better when it actually hits your screen, especially if you have an expensive television. Now, in case you haven't seen it, I did do a video separately talking about the actual gobbledygook, serious technical details. But the main thing you got to know is that it's about 67% more powerful than a base PlayStation 5. And it seems like the purpose of the PS5 Pro is for the most high-end games. Stuff like GTA 6, which is very CPU heavy, it's essentially trying to make games that typically would be a real power pusher stay at a steady 60 FPS, if not higher. Now, I do want to make it clear, the current PlayStation 5 is still a beast. I play mine literally every day. In fact, even right now, I'm working on a review for Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown, and the game runs at 120 FPS on the PlayStation 5. So it's not like the PS5 is weak, but that's part of why a lot of people are discussing the idea of if the announcement of the PlayStation 5 Pro is going to somehow hurt the sales of the PlayStation 5. It is an optional upgrade for those who are willing to pay for better performance. PlayStation 5 will not sell crazy numbers, and that's totally fine with Sony. Look at how the PS4 Pro did, and it didn't actually negatively affect the longevity or health of the base PlayStation 4. Now, my major actual motivation for this entire video is this article I saw by Paul Tassi, because I agree with it and I disagree with it. Sometimes Paul Tassi, I think, is not my favorite writer. I think some of his opinion pieces are a bit too sharp, but you know what? I'll actually take a person that is intelligently saying something I disagree with is sometimes more entertaining than persons that are agreeing with me. I want to hear someone say stuff I think is wrong in a more eloquent fashion so that I can pick it apart. So he has this really interesting breakdown of bullet points that I wanted to go over with you guys. So here it is. So essentially the whole crux of his argument is the fact that right now, the PlayStation 5 is already a huge, huge success. The PlayStation 5 is already outselling the Xbox 3-1. I mean, this is statistically proven. The PS5 is a tremendous, tremendous success, not just in sheer numbers, but in sales and profitability and raw units. I mean, the PS5 is a huge, huge hit. So would launching a PlayStation 5 Pro actually make sense? There are some significant differences from the PlayStation 4 Pro. The PS5 suffered from serious supply issues for the first 2 years of launch, causing many delayed purchases from consumers. So even if we're 4 years into the console generation instead of 3 like the PS4 Pro, it may still feel too soon to upgrade for many. Now, this is a great point. Obviously, I look at the comments a lot. There is just a huge batch of people that have been sitting with $500 in their pocket waiting to buy the PlayStation 5 until they could actually find one, and that's finally happened. The amount of people that I see in the comments talk about just now getting a PlayStation 5 while actually having saved up for games and exclusives and stuff like that back in 2020, I saw literally thousands of those comments last year. So here's the other thing. On the other side of the coin, being 4 years into the console generation may make early adopters feel like they might as well just wait for the PlayStation 6, especially if the upgrades to that console do not seem especially game-changing, power edge aside, as it's always a big ask to upgrade an entire console for a new one that already works perfectly well, or you can buy a normal one for much cheaper. Now, this is the one argument that I definitely disagree the most specifically with, because, I mean, I love my PlayStation 5 a lot. I did get a PlayStation 4 Pro. I liked my PlayStation 4 Pro, and I think a lot of it is that I got a PlayStation 4 at launch. I got my PlayStation 5 at launch. So now that it's already been 4 years since I've had it, for me, I'm willing to pay even if it isn't the biggest upgrade. Now, again, I am a professional reviewer. I'm more inclined to buy hardware and stuff, but my mentality about this is the fact that, in my mind, people that have had a system longer are more willing to try out those tiny upgrades, those mid-gen refreshes. Additionally, I still personally don't think the PlayStation 6 is coming anytime soon. I think that is a very, very long way off into the future. And so, I mean, the idea of the PlayStation 6 conceptually still seems like a distant pipe dream. I'm currently not waiting for it. I'm not expecting that reveal for another 4 years. So if I get 4 years of a PlayStation 5 Pro, to me, that's definitely money well spent. So here we go. We're living in an age of tremendous price inflation, and while the PlayStation 4 Pro launched at $400, the same price of a PS4 at launch, there's no telling how much a PlayStation 5 Pro might cost. As you recall, it's $450 for the digital version, $500 for a disc version of just a standard PlayStation 5, so it's likely that even at base minimum, they're going to probably ask for more than $500 for a PlayStation 5 Pro. Now, there have been some talks that it may cost as much as $600. To me, that would be the deal breaker for a lot of casual consumers, especially the upgrade cost. I do think a lot of the people buying a PlayStation 5 Pro are probably going to be trading in their PlayStation 5 at the same time, getting credit for that next upgrade, especially because, honestly, I love the fact that the PlayStation, has so many cloud saves. It's super easy to swap from one system to the next. It's a very seamless process. So the idea of trading in my PlayStation 5 and getting a Pro, that definitely seems worth it. But if it costs $600 or somehow even like $700, yeah, that's going to hurt its day one sales tremendously. Now, here's the last point he makes. Finally, the current PS5 generation has been a bit odd with its exclusives. Many of its biggest games like Horizon Forbidden West and God of War Ragnarok were also launched on the PlayStation 4, not wanting to leave those 117 million owners of the PlayStation 4 behind. we have only gotten a scarce handful of PS5 only large-scale games, the biggest one being Spider-Man 2. The PS5 is looking to already have a relatively light 2024 in the grand scheme of things, minus maybe Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, so there are a few games that may feel like PS5 is going to elevate them in some way, at least currently. So again, there is this talk. I see this keep coming up again and again and again. The idea of GTA 6. If Grand Theft Auto 6 looks incredibly better, way smoother, way cleaner on the PlayStation 5 Pro, that is going to be a system seller. That may sound ridiculous, but there has been a bunch of polling that typically gamers, if their favorite game is on a particular console or looks better in a particular way, they'll buy that hardware. A lot of people bought the Nintendo Switch just for Zelda. A lot of people bought the PlayStation 4 just for God of War freaking 2018. Like, that is a huge, huge deal. The PlayStation 5 Pro may end up being successful just if it manages to effectively maximize GTA 6. Now, let me end off by looking at one of my own tweets, something I did as a joke. These are my off-the-wall gaming predictions for 2024, and I did actually guess that the PlayStation 5 Pro is going to come out, and it's not going to really sell that well because the PS5 already looks great. And I still stand by this. I think the PlayStation 5 Pro is going to be a slow burn. I think it's going to be one of those things that people pick up. You're going to see it in stores. You're going to hear discussion about the improvements of particular games on that hardware. But I just don't think it's going to be the mainstream popular main console the way that the PS5 is. The PS5 is just dominating. It is selling crazy, crazy, crazy amounts back to back to back. And the Pro, obviously, it's never going to match that intensity, that hype, that fervor. But it's not really trying to. I think this guy's sentiment completely nails it, which is the concept that instead of the PlayStation 5 Pro attempting to replace the standard PS5, it is a supplemental system. It is something that people who want to get that nice little extra boost can enjoy, but it's going to be a tiny side piece of hardware, not the big caboodle. But what do you guys think about the PlayStation 5 Pro? Now, my serious question for the comments here is, would you buy a PlayStation 5 Pro if for some reason it costs $600? I may do a follow-up video on this, read in the comments, but seriously, down in the comments, tell me, would you buy a PS5 Pro for $600 if it comes out this year? Why or why not? Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like, subscribe, and keep dreaming. I don't look that bad, right? This is okay. Look at that. That's fine, right? That's totally fine. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.